Kathy Vick, deeply awake. And I know, this is Chats 2017, I know that there are people out there who may be going through similar things as me, interpersonally. Maybe not. Maybe I'm on my own in a hinterland of weirdness. I don't know. But because I find myself here, and because it's so central to my peace and happiness and joy and sense of safety and continuity here, it needs to be talked about. And it's socialization. Now, this is someone who I've been able to see the last couple of days some of the barriers that I've put up to connecting. I've seen how very, very cold I am socially, and how I at times feel completely unable to respond any differently, and yet totally unhappy with the way I respond in the moment. Now, I know that feeling. That feeling is of the old. You can call it karma. That's a catch-all phrase, I think. It's that sticky behavior. It's the stuff that you can't seem to lift out of, but what you're doing, creates problems, but you don't know how to fix it. That's how it's been for me socially pretty much my whole life. And so it led to obsessing about my conversations to make sure that I didn't miss the boat. I didn't say something mean. Why would I do that? I've wondered about that. It's because a part of me was mean. And I didn't want that part of me to be my spokesperson. But I'm aware of it. I'm aware of my capabilities. But what I've seen too is just how frightened I've been. But I didn't know why. Why would I be frightened of people? It's had to do with identity. It's had to do with purpose. Mainly with identity. I'm realizing that, most of the people who know me now refer to me as their magical friend, or the one who channels, or that one who's in the clouds. The people I rub elbows with know that I'm different. And I haven't had to advertise it with my friends. I've done everything I know how to simply fit in and be normal with these tribes that I've found. And yet, through my own stubbornness, or through just how I present, people notice to stand down, kind of. It was only last night I realized it is true. The world around me is not a painting. It's not a mural. It's not a still life. It's a mirror. What's the most important thing that distinguishes a painting from a mirror? I think it's that when you look at that rectangle, or square, or circle, in one instance, you're looking at a fixed scene. And you are the only actor that has any kind of effect on what you're witnessing. Solitary. Observant. Detached. And then there's a mirror. And what's looking back at me, is it this person. My precious, my precious. Is it the awkward one, convinced she's going to get beaten up for making a mistake that she doesn't see as a mistake? The one who cannot get traction and cannot do anything right? Or is it someone who's relaxed and smiling and thinking about thoughts that make the originator of the image glow? It really is a mirror. So, I know that the socialization and the relationships I've had, especially the ones that have been really profound and heart-based, to me, they're more precious than gold. It's not easy for me to connect. It never has been. So when I find somebody who it feels like, God, sitting in my favorite recliner, I know that that's a click. But I woke up after a couple of hours of sleep last night with a message. I wrote it down and then I went back to sleep. I'll read it to you. But I want to say that I watched this movie called Tin Man. It's in 3 installments on Netflix from the Sci-Fi Channel. I saw it when it first came out. I didn't particularly like it. I didn't hang with it. It was too brutal. I'm really not okay. Well, I want to say why. In The Wizard of Oz, did you see anybody getting shot dead? Did you see anyone applying torture, having a frank discussion that, torturing someone effectively is much more humane than killing them? No, in the original version, you didn't see that. You didn't see a plan to take over the world and plunge the world into darkness, perpetual, permanent darkness. That movie is incredibly dark, and it was hard to watch earlier on. But now I can see it as metaphor, and it helps. It's still repugnant, but at least I can see it as metaphor, and that helps. In this new version, well, I was deeply touched by it. The family motif. The person carrying magic but having been brought up completely normal, finding out that she is capable of so much more than she thought. So much more powerful, so much safer than her little mind knows. Encountering friends along the way who know of her, who know her story, who are tasked to remind her, to help her to remember her own memories, and to remind her to remember in childhood how the light simply flowed through her. Flow. It was very, very helpful. It was beautiful. I remember when I was very social And I was successful. It was for a short time, but I felt so much success. And I had success. I was really happy. And that mindset has returned. It's been returning. And it's strong now. Before, it came over me and I loved it, but I didn't know how to sustain it. Much like working with the teachers, out of the blue, I was given a life experience of several months in this case, over a year. If you look at the whole thing, longer. I had to figure out the importance of the other, what free will really means. I had to figure out so much. So, 11:11. So, this morning, I wrote some notes down, and I want to share them. I will say before I close it, there's a part of me that's always been raw, simply looking at a wedding ring. I've always wanted that. When I had it, well, I'm glad I had the experience I did, let's just say that. But a wedding ring to me symbolizes that you've met someone who is the one, who pushes you higher, makes you better, and brings you home. And it's only been the last little bit that I've realized how few people have that situation symbolized with their gold bands. I had been coveting people who I should not have been coveted, who I should not have been coveting. I was wanting that state of union. I wanted that flow. I wanted to be that significant to another and to have that much fun. But when I look at a wedding ring, what I'm seeing is my romance, not anyone else's. And it's two people who meet, who know. They need to be responsible for themselves and to each other. And it just feels best to be in this particular person's presence as much as possible. Far from a dependent state, it's a state of entanglement, of mutuality, of living, breathing flow. I want that so bad. And I always have. I've had pieces of it, glimpses of it, glimmers. I've had its opposite. And I've had doses, really big doses of it, with the caveat that it's not to continue. I know it's not typical. Nothing about my life is typical or conventional, thank God. So, it matters to me to be with people who I click with. But what I'm realizing is that sometimes that click is inaudible at the first meeting. not feeling that click, I used to feel hurt, excluded, despondent, betrayed. Honestly, that's a hell of a lot to put on a stranger. But I had this mindset, and I couldn't seem to shake it. What came to me this morning helped. So I'll read it. And then I'm going to do brand new things, because it's way, way, way past time to do so. And I'm thrilled. I can't wait. It's past time. I have people waiting on me to show up. And today I can say with my whole heart, here I am. I'm sorry to have made you wait. Please forgive me. A part of me never left your side, and now all of me caught up, so I'm not going anywhere. And I'm here to delight you, to assist you, to love you, to support you. To be at peace among men. That's a really big wish of mine. To know that what I think and feel in the presence of another has a lot to do with them. And to finally know what's mine and what's theirs. Wow. Last night and this morning I felt like, the most important thing that I can do, the most appropriate thing, is to get on camera and apologize for having been cold, for having been dismissive, for having been compassionate, for having been unloving. But these are sins that I carry. And oftentimes I find that the people who I think I hurt, I actually didn't. But I have hurt plenty of people, disappointed them. Well, that's mutual. And when I stand in front of someone and feel nothing but shame for myself and disappointment in myself, I'm just now beginning to realize that I might have just walked into a soup that doesn't taste very good. And that's not all mine. That I'm not horribly offensive. And I've committed no crimes if I've been a shit friend. I just let you down a little bit. Have I been interpersonally violent? Well, I guess that's up to you to decide. But I know I have been cold. I know I have been locked away in a tower, petrified, to whisper, help. And yet, I've had help. It's always been there. The door's always been unlocked. I just preferred living in a castle and crying a lot. Didn't know any better. So I'll tell you what I wrote. And then I'll put it to bed. If there is no click, if there isn't that chemistry hard, the kind where we're saying, hey, I know you, I used to consider that a really bad thing. I've resented the admirer. I've blocked men, especially, I guess, because if there's no chemistry, it's better to not have them around. But no, it's from feeling betrayed for not having been the one. All that does is limit my friends who can be a friend of mine. I used to think without that magic, without that click, I was with an enemy, that somehow that click kept me safe. But now I see I clicked hard with someone who was never going to let me get close. But I let that pass because of the click. I think since meeting others, that the most important thing to look for is a huge, or at least not a small, heart. It's time to open things up again, to start acting happy, to let people in. I've been so cold. It's because of being suspicious, having been hurt, but it's time to change. When I suspended my search for the one and allowed people in with their flaws and drawbacks, at least I had friends. Maybe if I need less from people, I'll actually receive more. If I'm less scared and less ready to accuse someone of betrayal, for what? Not liking me? That's not betrayal. That's simple rejection. They're allowed. It doesn't mean I'll be alone forever. I'm not alone. And I like company. And the click needs to be the gold standard for dating. But it'll never be a license to act like shit toward me again. I'm getting there. Figuring out this other has been hard. Figuring out free will and the other has been tricky. I realize these are issues that a lot of people don't even contemplate. I get it. That's fine. I do. And I'm glad I do. I'm proud that I do. And sure, it might set me apart a little bit. But I'm beginning to realize that whether I articulate these thoughts or keep them quiet, the ones who like me already know I'm thinking these kind of thoughts. So, all is well. I'm safe and I am loved. And I hope that my sharing this with you, yes, it's raw and it's honest and it exposes my vulnerabilities, my weaknesses, my misunderstandings, and my fear. Well, bravo. I'm glad to do so, if it helps you, because in so doing, it helps me. I have a beautiful, wonderful, supportive, and magical day ahead of me. Every day is magic, because I am magic. Not magical. I'm magic. Knowing this and then things don't work out the way I want, that's a tricky one. That is a head scratcher. I have power, but it's limited. What limits this power? It seems to be stopped with the other. What's going on here? Well, I think in the end it comes down to having accomplished, or at least I'm getting there, my task. When I had my near-death experience in May of 2012, and I was told this squeezing through the eye of the needle, this whole exercise, the point of it is to learn my own energetic signature. That is the task at hand. That I appreciate this signature more and more, and that it comes into starker relief. I know I'm on the right track. So I wanted to share this with you because I feel better. I feel more hopeful. And this is the kind of thing that's not just, oh, I feel better. I think I'll sit and just vegetate for 12 hours and not engage in my life. It's not like that now. No. I actually feel like I can make an impact in my life. That my preferences matter in my daily walk as they haven't before. I wasn't really allowed my preferences before because they were based in fear and anger. And so I was dialed on yes. Now that I know more, I can be much more discerning and hopefully more soft, hopefully more gentle in my dealings with humans, of whom I am one. And I know gentleness, kindness, patience, consistency, these things matter, at least to someone like me. But they're tracers. And I don't think I'm ever going to be blinded by someone's hidden agenda ever again. And for that, I am beyond grateful. Because I know I am forever safe now, among men. The thing that I thought was my weakness is my power and my protection. Okay. I guess that's all I need to say. Blessings be this fine day